Absolutely an opportunity to do so. You salvage the series finale here, puts you in situation with a little bit more momentum heading into the USC series next weekend. Randy, any big things you're looking for the Sun Devils tonight?
Yeah, they have to bounce back. You know, the big inning's bitten them a couple of times this series already, and the key is you got to forget about what happened yesterday, forget about what happened Friday night. You got to come out and play Sunday baseball. Sunday baseball in the Pac-12 conference is so important because that's how you build your season. Friday, Saturday, important, yes, but you have to come out today and try and salvage a game. And like we talked about, they want to host a regional here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, and in order to take a step in that direction, they're going to have to step up today and try and get a big victory.
Well, it all starts with the lefty Ross Dunn, who's going to take the mound for the Sun Devils here. Welcome back to the broadcast. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Stanford Cardinal. And head coach David Esker has rolled out the same exact lineup for all 3 games in this series. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Leading off in center field, it'll be Eddie Park. Batting second, the third baseman, Tommy Troy. Batting third will be the first baseman, Carter Graham. In the cleanup spot, it'll be Braden Montgomery. Be followed up by Alberto Rios, Malcolm Moore, Drew Bowser, Jake Sapien, and the shortstop, Owen Cobb, will round out the lineup for the Cardinal. Ross Dunn on the mound. First pitch of the ball game is off the plate for ball 1.
Well, you mentioned in the open, you know, they scored so many runs the first 2 games. Why would you change anything up? It's worked so far.
And Ross Dunn has been one of the more dependable starters for Willie Bloomquist as he fires in a fastball for strike 1. Second to only Christian Curtis in innings pitched, who worked in the game last night.
Dunn, 4-3 record, 50 innings pitched, 25 earned runs allowed, walked 33, struck out 69.
Now those 69 punch-outs, most on the team. He's held opponents to the lowest batting average among ASU starters. This one runs high and in on Eddie Park. Coming off a tough luck outing in Eugene. It's going to take a little bit of time here as he steps off the mound. Allowed 5 runs, but only 3 of those were earned, and that was over 5 innings pitched. This one outside, ball 4.
Well, not the start that Ross Dunn wanted. Stanford does such a good job of taking advantage of free bases, and Arizona State's already going to find themselves here in a little bit of trouble in the first inning because this Stanford lineup is stacked.
Willie Bloomquist definitely needs his pitchers to fill up the strike zone more. Free bases are sometimes the cardinal sin when it comes to starting pitchers. And
no
really
pun intended, right?
No kidding. Here's Tommy Troy. Fastball a little bit above the zone.
Well, the other thing we have to watch out for is Arizona State's used a lot of pitchers already this weekend, and it's a Sunday in the Pac, so could be in for a long one and a lot of arms needed.
There's a strike. Yeah, the Devils have used 4 relievers in each of the last 2 games, so not a lot for Willie Bloomquist to go to out of the bullpen in terms of depth. There's a strike. Dunn gets ahead 1-2.
And you're at the point in the season now where guys are going to have to start making back-to-back appearances or coming back from Friday night. It's just to this point where, you know, they're still fighting for regionals and all that. We need to step up and we need arms.
Checks the runner Park at first. 1-2 on the way. A little bit below the knees. Well, Tommy Troy has been a problem for the Sun Devils in this series. He's homered in both games. That's 5 homers in his last 12 contests. All 4 hits for Troy in this series have gone for extra bases. One runs low and in. Nice block by Campos. Looks like it hit him on the foot.
Yeah, no initial call from the home plate umpire, but Troy just kind of reached out and said, oh, yeah, that hit me on the arm, and now we're going to have a little bit of a discussion. I guess the discussion was that Park has to go to second base.
So with that, we'll take a look at the defensive alignment for the Sun Devils. You got Kean Vu in left field, Isaiah Jackson in center, Nick McLean in right. New Contradas manning third base. It'll be Luke and Luke up the middle. Hill at short, Keishel at second, Jacob Tobias at first, and doing the catching for Ross Dunn will be Ryan Campos, making his second start back.
And Willie Bloomquist was out of the dugout, and I could kind of see he was signaling, isn't that only 3 balls? And the umpire said, no, it hit him. And Willie said, you got to be kidding me. So I don't know that Coach Bloomquist is real happy with that call, and now he's going to make his way out. And I don't know if he wants – he's going to have a discussion, looks like, with the second base umpire.
That's Will Van Raphorst, who was the home plate umpire for the first game in this series. And it's noted behind the plate is David Buck, who had a couple of calls overturned at first base last night. So now the umpires are going to convene and have a discussion about this one.
There's definitely been some interesting umpiring all weekend long. There was, an interference call on Friday night, just a little bit of everything.
So they're going to take a look at this one. As it stands, Tommy Troy hit in the foot. If this one is overturned, it should be a full count with Park going back to first. So to recap, Game 1, Stanford won 8-6. It was a back-and-forth contest, more of the same last night with even more offense. Stanford winning 12-11, an absolute barn burner. We saw the Sun Devils put up 6 runs in the second. Stanford scored 7 in the fourth, and just a lot of crooked numbers and a rough night for both pitching staffs.
Yeah, ASU finally got to the Stanford bullpen, which they couldn't do on Friday night because they'd only got into the bullpen once. And it turned out that Stanford had no problem with the ASU bullpen. And it's a lot of runs we've seen scored already, on a Friday and Saturday. You don't generally see that from the 2 top teams in the Pac-12, but especially here on a Sunday afternoon when the sun is out, it's hot, could see a lot of balls go flying all over this yard here at Phoenix Muni today.
Yeah, no doubt. So up next for the Sun Devils after this series, they'll get 3 games in Los Angeles against the Trojans, and then after that, they return home for one final Pac-12 series against the Bruins of UCLA.
Stanford's going to go host Arizona next week at Sunken Diamond, and then they'll finish off the season with a road trip to Pullman, which is no easy place to play. I mean, even in late May in Pullman, you might have a snow delay or 2.
No doubt.
Umpire's taking a real long look at this.
Yeah, taking a very long look at this one. You got to have indisputable video evidence to overturn the call.
Ross Dunn taking a few warm-up pitches, but I mean he's only thrown 10 pitches so far, and it's an odd time to have this long of a delay. All right, looks like we have a decision.
The headsets are off. Here's the call.
Oh, they're going to say he was hit by the pitch.
All right, so Troy will remain over there at first base. Call is confirmed. First 2 runners have reached against Ross Dunn. That'll bring up the first baseman, Carter Graham.
Yeah, and the first 2 runners have reached without having to do anything, and that's the kind of stuff that'll just drive a pitching coach and a head coach absolutely bananas.
Graham carries a 10-game hitting streak into this ball game as Dunn gets ahead 0-1. Picked up a pair of hits and an RBI last night. Chance to put his team on the board first.
Sun Devil infield, a double play depth, hoping to get a ground ball and give them a hand here and get 2 outs. They'll gladly give that runner up to third to get those 2 outs.
1-1 on the way. Just caught that one with the end of the bat. And it trickles foul. It's 1-2 now.
Slight breeze blowing from left field to right field here at Phoenix Muni.
Good day for left-handed pull hitters. This one's skied in the air, right side, and onto the concourse for a foul ball. Well, the Stanford Cardinal have really brought the bats down to Phoenix. As a team, 18 extra base hits in this series, including 6 home runs. That one just off the plate. Went off speed and couldn't quite catch the corner.
Now, Stanford's a complete baseball team. It's not a shock to see why they've made 2 straight College World Series and why they're leading the Pac-12. They're just a really well-built baseball program.
That one way outside. Dunn upset with himself. Campos maybe telling him to just settle down a little bit after that one.
I think Dunn's overthrowing a little bit. He got 2 strikes and got a little too geeked up there, and is overthrowing the last couple of pitches.
Full count. Park at second, Troy at first, nobody out. Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Chasing off speed in the dirt. That's a big first strikeout for Dunn.
Yeah, it really is. Nice pitch there. Nice job by Campos to make that catch, and that is a huge first out for the Sun Devils.
Well, now a double play ball gets you out of the inning.
But it doesn't get any easier, that's for sure.
Not at all. The switch hitting right fielder Braden Montgomery, 10 homers, hitting .316.
312 with runners in scoring position.
Dunn gets ahead 0-1. Spots that fastball in the inside corner. On upstairs. It's noted that Montgomery, very patient hitter, leads the Cardinal in walks.
He's got more walks and strikeouts from the cleanup position. You don't see that very often.
That's impressive. Slow ground ball to third. Contradas, bare hands, fires to first. The throw is high, and it pulls Tobias off the bag. That was going to be a tough play for Contradas.
I was going to say it was a nice job by Contradas just to get to that and make a throw. He's lucky that Tobias was able to pull it down, but that ball was just hit so weakly there was no chance they were going to get anybody, I don't think.
So now the bases are full. They're going to call that an infield single. I think that's the right decision.
Oh, absolutely.
Park at third, Troy at second, Montgomery at first. Double play still in order, but with Alberto Rios at the plate.
Yeah,
Rios had himself a phenomenal series.
Rios this season with the bases loaded, hitting .500, .385 with runners in scoring position on the year, .405 with any runner on.
Big strike one. Dunn has done a nice job getting ahead of the last couple of batters.
But we already have action out in the Sun Devil bullpen here early on. That's not a good sign for Willie Bloomquist and the ASU squad.
Sharp ground ball to third. Contradas drops the ball, steps on the bag at third for one. The throw to first in time. Double play to end the inning. What a job by Ross Dunn to work out a danger and keep the Cardinal off the board. It's 0-0 as we head to the bottom of the first on Pac-12 Insider. Back at the bottom of the first inning here at Phoenix Muni. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Willie Bloomquist and the Arizona State Sun Devils. Leading it off in right field, it'll be Nick McLean. He'll be followed up by the shortstop Luke Hill and then Ryan Campos. In the cleanup spot, the second baseman Luke Keischel. Batting fifth, the first baseman Jacob Tobias. Then the third baseman New Contradas, the DH Wyatt Crenshaw. Batting eighth, the center fielder Isaiah Jackson. And rounding out the lineup, the left fielder Kian Vu.
And what a play by New Contradas to end the top of the first and end the threat for Stanford. What I really liked about that play is he bobbled the ball a little bit, but he didn't panic, made sure he secured, got that at third, and then made a nice strong throw to first base, because that was a situation where when he starts to bobble that ball, now you get those gears in your head to start moving, and you could panic and end up with no out. So a really nice job by Contradas and a great play by Tobias at first to stretch and get that out.
Big play indeed for the Devils. Now the right-hander on the mound for the Cardinal. It's Joey Dixon, junior out of South Jordan, Utah. And you take a look at the numbers there, ERA just a touch over 5, though he does have 61 strikeouts and 52 innings of work. Last pitched last week against UCLA, worked 4 1/3 in that game, surrendered 4 earned, 7 came around to score.
Yeah, I think a key for the Sun Devils today is you got to work deep into counts. You got to try and get into that Stanford bullpen again. You showed you could hit it last night.
First pitch to McLean is downstairs for ball 1.
The other thing you got to wonder is, is Ryan Bruno going to be available today? He's pitched the last 2 days. You know, when you got a guy throwing 99, 100 miles an hour, you don't know how fast his arm can recover. So it'd be nice if the Sun Devils could have a lead late and wouldn't have to worry about seeing him.
McLean gets ahead 2-0, and if you have a chance to not face Ryan Bruno, if you're the Sun Devils, you would prefer to go that route because he has looked untouchable through both games in this series. There's a strike. Well, Dixon can give you some length through 100 pitches in his last game. This one chopped foul.
Yeah, ASU is just going to have to show some patience. You know, on Friday night they were going after a lot of first pitches early in the game, and that allowed the Stanford starter to just, I think he threw 120-something pitches, going eight full for him. But ASU's got to work deep counts and try and get into that Cardinal bullpen.
2-2. McLean going the other way, and that'll be a base hit. The shortstop Cobb kept it from going into the outfield, but McLean's aboard with another infield single.
Just a really well-placed ground ball, and there was absolutely no chance for Cobb to make that play and get the throw to first. McLean's too fast for that, and that's a good start for Arizona State, getting that leadoff hitter on.
We've seen McLean beat the shift a couple of times, going right through that same hole. That's a nice job by your leadoff hitter to get on base. Here's the shortstop, Hill.
Had a nice ball game last night.
Had a moonshot opposite field with 2 outs, a 3-run homer. So he just continues his incredible pace with runners in scoring position. Pickoff throw over to first. McLean's back.
Has not attempted a stolen base. Now he's only played, 14 games with today's game, but has not attempted a stolen base yet this year. And he's been on base plenty, so he's had opportunities.
Gets his lead at first. Another pickoff. This one was close. The throw gets away. McLean's headed for second. He'll be in without a throw.
That was a real nice job by McLean. He saw where that ball was rolling, saw the right fielder was playing way out, and there was no chance any was going to get there in time. And he just takes that extra base and gets himself in a scoring position.
And we'll take a look at the defensive alignment for the Stanford Cardinal. Rios in left, Park in center, Montgomery in right. Third to first on the infield, Tommy Troy, Owen Cobb, Drew Bowser, Carter Graham. And doing the catching for Joey Dixon is Malcolm Moore.
So that'll be a throwing error on the pitcher.
This one lifted foul, out of play. Yeah, the throw was close. McLean got caught leaning a little bit, but the throw was in the dirt, and Graham just couldn't corral it.
And it rolled just far enough away from McLean to know, okay, I'm going to be able to get there without probably even drawing a throw, and that's exactly what happened.
This one in the dirt, nice block by Moore.
See, now you're getting to, that's what ASU went through in their half of the first inning, is high leverage pitches. And now you've already got the Stanford starter Dixon throwing high leverage pitches here in the early going. Man in scoring position, he's got to worry about runners. That's how you get deep into a bullpen.
1-2 on the way. Check swing. This one's low. They appeal to first, and first base umpire Nathan White says he held up in time. Counts even at 2-2. Runner in scoring position, still no one out yet. Dixon out of the stretch. Hill pops it up. Bowser calling everyone off. He's got it. Wasted opportunity there to get the runner over to third.
Yeah, but you kind of got a gift getting him to second base to begin with, so you take what you can get, and now you've got Ryan Campos here who's ready to try and bring a run home. I know he had 2 hits last night, but he wants to bring a run home, and his first RBI since coming back from missing almost a month.
Picked up a couple of hits last night. Those were his first since returning from injury. And he's had a couple of really tough matchups. Matthews on Friday, and then some of the lefties Stanford is able to bring out of their bullpen. He's had to face Drew Dowd, Ryan Bruno.
But now he's got, 8 or so at-bats under his belt in his comeback. He's going to start to get that timing back. That's really the hardest thing for hitters when you miss a significant amount of time is picking up game action, getting your game timing back. In the cage is one thing, but when you're out between the lines.
Swing and a miss. Yeah, that's something Willie Bloomquist touched on after Friday when he took an offer, that just seeing live pitching again is something you have to adjust to. Another exaggerated shift for the Stanford infield defense. This one downstairs. They'll have Cobb just shaded to the right of the second base bag with Bowser playing out on the outfield grass.
Yeah, Campos sent a little nubber right to the shortstop hole, and it's going to bring a run home.
This one a drive into center field, and it's past the glove of Cobb. They're going to hold up McLean at third, so the Devils with runners on the corners and one out.
Put a good swing on the ball, but McLean had to hold up because Cobb jumped up and you thought for a second he might have a chance to make this play, and McLean didn't want to get doubled off. But now you got runners at the corner, still only one out, and one of the hottest hitters in the conference, Luke Keeschel, coming up.
You said it. Luke Keeschel's been on a tear, now the Pac-12 home run leader. 2 homers in the game last night to bring his season total up to 16. 9 home runs in the last couple of weeks. 9 of his last 10 hits gone for extra bases.
16 homers, 23 doubles. I mean, those numbers just jump off the screen at you. And slugging .766, hitting .396 with runners on, .407 with runners in scoring position. And right now, all the Sun Devils need is a fly ball. They don't even need a home run.
This one outside. You can tell in his at-bats he's not even necessarily swinging for the fences. It's just he's in a great groove at the plate. His timing's fantastic. Everything working for the second baseman. Swing and a miss.
That's generally when your home runs come, is when you're not swinging for the fences. When you're swinging for the fences, you're going to swing at bad pitches and you're going to overthink. When you're just trying to make solid contact, good things are going to happen.
Long hold from Dixon. He fires. Swing and a miss. Took something off. Caught Keeschel out in front.
Tobias waiting on deck. Sun Devils really need to cash in these opportunities in the early going.
They left the bases loaded at one point last night. Keeschel lays off the fastball upstairs. 94 on the radar gun.
Yeah, Sun Devils stranded 6 runners last night. Stanford stranded 8 runners. And when you think about how many runs were scored in that ball game,
could have been a whole lot more.
Yes, it could have been.
The 2-2. This one in the air. Foul ground. And into the stands. A double play is in order for Dixon.
ASU's definitely made Dixon work this inning. It's going to be his 20th pitch coming up here in the bottom of the first with 2 on and 1 out.
About to throw his 20th pitch. Keeschel lays off. Nice block by Moore. That keeps the runners at their stations.
Good eye there by Keeschel. You could tell he was thinking about it, but was able to just hold up.
Tobias waiting on deck. Another red-hot Sun Devil bat. Payoff pitch. Swing, and maybe just did get a piece of it. And it looks like he did. Foul ball.
Yeah, he got a little piece. He might have gotten a piece of the catcher Moore as well. As you're going to see the home plate umpire going to walk out to hand Dixon a new baseball just to give Moore a couple of seconds. But Campos also took off from first base on that pitch, trying to stay out of a double play and hoping that if it was a strikeout, he would have a big enough jump where he could get there. And if nothing else, draw a throw and see if maybe McLean can sneak in and the throw be, not in time at second base.
Well, we saw last night some savvy base running from New Contradas, who got caught in a rundown. Campos was able to score from third, and Contradas ended up being safe at second base.
And those are things teams work on in practice all year. First and third, one out situations, full count. You know, you sometimes as that runner at first, you're okay getting caught in a rundown as long as that run comes home.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Devils trying to jump ahead first. This one is in the dirt for ball 4. Base is full of Devils.
It's a really nice at bat by Keishel right there. Just waited and waited. Didn't, we got fooled a little bit on that swing and a miss. It was a ball over his head, but he came back, fouled off a couple of pitches, and was patient. And now he's standing on first base, and Arizona State has a big opportunity here.
Professional at bat, and that gives Jacob Tobias an opportunity with the bases juiced. And he is batting over 700 with the bases loaded. It's exactly who you want up. 750 to be exact.
Hold on, let me check my baseball almanac. Yeah, that's a good batting average with the bases loaded.
He also carries a double-digit 10-game hitting streak into this game. Team leader in RBI. The 1-0 from Dixon. Swinging a drive into right field. And that one's going to go all the way to the wall. Devils are off to the races. McLean scores. Here comes Campos. Behind him is Keishel. It's a bases clearing extra base hit for Tobias. He's caught up in a rundown. And he's going to fall down and be tagged out. But he'll get credit for all 3 RBI. Arizona State ahead 3-0.
Well, what's his batting average with the runners in scoring position with the bases loaded now? Because
that
even ball is perfectly placed down the right field line. You hate to see him get thrown out at second making that wide turn. But, boy, that's a big 3 spot for the Devils to put up here in the bottom of the first inning.
So Tobias should get credited with a double there, being that he went past the second base bag. He was thinking 3 all the way.
Yeah, he'll get credit for a double, and he's out 9-4-6-5.
New Contrades. Breaking ball can't quite make it back into the zone.
Boy, just a perfectly placed line drive right there by Tobias. Went all the way into the corner out by the Corey Hahn sign. And no problem for the Devils to score 3 on that.
Swing and a miss. Couldn't catch up to the fastball.
I think Tobias was expecting a throw home to try and get Keishel coming around and kind of got surprised. And he almost had second base.
There's a tapper. Moore fires to first just in time to get Contrades. But Jacob Tobias clears the bases, picks up 3 more RBI, and the Devils get on the board first. It's 3-0. We'll be right back on Pac-12 Insider. Jacob Tobias does it again, picks up 3 RBI with 1 swing of the bat. And another RBI double with the bases loaded. Arizona State on the board first. But as we've seen in this series, no lead is safe.
No lead is safe, but that's got to be a big lift for Arizona State. They got in a little bit of trouble in the top half of the first. New Contrades turns a double play to get him out of trouble, and then you flip the script around. Stanford finds himself in a little bit of trouble, and Tobias is able to cash in 3 runs, and now all that pressure switches to Stanford, and the momentum switches to ASU, although it's still really early here on a Sunday in the pack.
And they'll have the catcher Malcolm Moore. He'll be followed up by Bowser and Sapien, 6, 7, 8. Due up for the Cardinal here in the top of the second.
That was one thing that was always preached to the team when I was with the program back in the 2006 to 2011 is Sundays are crazy days. Expect crazy things to happen. You're not going to see a whole lot of 1-0 ball games or 2-0 ball games, and you could see a 3-0 ball game in the third turn into a 24-23 ball game by the time you get to the 8th.
Could be in for a marathon. Like we talked about in the open, 37 runs combined between the two coming into this game. I've already seen that total get up to 40 and likely more to come.
And this is a big inning for Ross Dunn. He was able to get out unscathed last inning. His offense gave him some runs, so he needs to step up and try and get the Devils a shutdown inning here in the second.
Moore tries to check his swing, but he went around. Dunn ahead 0-2. Pitch. This one spikes in front of Campos.
Tried to get more to chase there, but catchers aren't going to chase those balls. They see those all the time.
Well, Malcolm Moore has had tremendous strike zone awareness. You alluded to it. He's been walking a lot as he swings and misses. Dunn picks up his second strikeout of the game. So that's a good start.
So important to get a leadoff hitter.
Here's Bowser. First pitch swinging, fouls it back. And Bowser has had himself a real nice series. Got a 7-game hitting streak going for him.
Bowser's numbers, sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. Bowser's numbers don't jump off the screen at you, but he's just been consistent. And so far, as you mentioned this weekend, he's been a real Sun Devil killer, just seems to be on base all the time.
He's got sneaky pop. Picked up a 2-run shot in the 4th inning in yesterday's game, a 4th inning in which the Cardinals were able to score 7 times. I believe without even recording an out.
And that has been ASU's one thing all season they've had trouble avoiding, and that's the big inning. They have given up a lot of crooked numbers in one inning at a time, and you know it gets hard to come back every single time, and it can be demoralizing after you put up a bunch of runs and then the other team comes right back. So that's something ASU's really got to avoid, not just today, but moving forward the last 6 regular season games and going on to postseason.
2-2 the count. Chopper, left side, Contradas, bare hands, fires to first, got him. What a play at the hot corner by Contradas.
Well, how many times did we say that Friday night, too? Newt Contradas is having himself a great series defensively. And I misspoke. It should be 7 regular season games. They still have to play UC Riverside. And who knows if they have to make up the Washington game. That could play into seeding for the Pac-12 tournament, so you never know.
Yeah, it very well could. The Sun Devils walked away from Seattle with the split. That Sunday game got rained out. Here's Sapien.
And things are different now because all the teams will be here in Arizona for the tournament. So Washington and ASU could end up playing a regular season Pac-12 game in Arizona with Arizona State being the road team. But we'll see how that all shakes out.
Still got a few weeks left in the regular season before the tournament. Swing and a miss. 85 on the off speed.
That series next weekend at USC is going to be real interesting because USC, coached by former Sun Devil coach Andy Stankiewicz, former Sun Devil coach Travis Jewett on that staff, so they know this program.
Got him. Sapien chases in the dirt. Campos completes the strikeout, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Ross Dunn, following the 3-run first for the Sun Devils. Arizona State going to bat in the bottom of the 2nd here on Pac-12 Insider. Hope you brought your sunscreen. It's a warm, sunny day here at Phoenix Muni. Fans out enjoying the Coors Light Devil Deck out in right field. And a lot of fans have taken to the shaded sections of the stadium as it figures to warm up here with very light cloud coverage.
But man, I mean, it's 85 right now, early May. You got big-time Pac-12 baseball going on. You couldn't ask for more. You know,
Not a bad deal.
There was a lady who used to work at this stadium back when the A's had spring training. Her name was Alice. She worked the front gate. And every day you came in, she would say, "It's a beautiful day for baseball," with a smile on her face. And you know what? Today is one of those days. It's a beautiful day for baseball here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium.
That it is. Here's Crenshaw to lead off the 2nd.
ASU, I think, really needs to try and make Dixon work again this inning. They did a great job last inning. He threw around 30 pitches, so try and get deep in those counts again in this inning.
Swing and a miss. Dixon ahead 0-2. Well, Dixon looking for a bounce-back inning after getting roughed up a little bit in the first. 0-2. Outside.
Crenshaw, Jackson, and Vu. 7, 8, and 9 in the Sun Devil order here in the bottom of the second.
This one downstairs. Just missed the front foot of Crenshaw. It's been a quiet series for Wyatt. He's normally picking up base hits left and right. Walked in the game yesterday.
I'm not sure how that ball missed his leg.
Me neither. Almost reacted like it hit him. Swing and a miss. Out in front on the off speed. And Dixon has his first strikeout. Well, here's Isaiah Jackson, the freshman who has quickly become a fan favorite here in Tempe.
Yeah, he's really been a great addition to this Sun Devil squad. You see those numbers, 8 homers, 27 RBI, and the defense he plays in center field, he brings an energy to the field, both offensively and defensively.
Looks at the breaker for strike one and was back at it again in center field last night, robbing Tommy Troy of a home run. Also picked up a couple of hits. Fouls this one off. It's 0-2.
You know, it seems silly, but there can be a lot of pressure on a guy wearing number 24 as a part of this program. Barry Bonds, Mike Kelly. A lot of people don't realize Reggie Jackson wore 24 here when he played for Arizona State. The 44 is up on the wall of honor, but he wore 24. So, I mean, that's a significant number for this program.
And there's a base hit into center field past the diving glove of Cobb. And Isaiah Jackson's aboard with another base hit.
Nice, solid swing. Didn't try to do too much with the ball, and sometimes the baseball gods will reward you for that. I think that hit off of 2 different gloves, and he ends up on first base.
That's his 5th base hit in the series. He has really seen this Stanford pitching staff well.
There's a lot of young talent on this Sun Devil baseball squad.
Here's another talented freshman. It's the left fielder, Kian Vu. Swing and a miss. Joey Dixon, despite the 3 runs allowed and the 4 hits, he is getting some swing and miss.
Yeah, he is. He's coming up about 93 is where his fastball's topping out. He's got a really nice breaking ball as well.
There's another one. So he goes with 2 fastballs, and Kian Vu just a little bit off on the timing.
Now watch out for that breaking ball or a change up here and have him get way out in front.
Swing and a miss. Just good morning, good afternoon, good night. Blew him away with 3 straight heaters.
Yeah, and that last one coming across at 94 miles an hour. I guess if you couldn't catch up at the first 2, let's see if I can get a little bit more.
So the lineup flips over for Nick McLean. Singled and scored in the first.
Had a perfectly placed ground ball right in the hole at shortstop. They were shifted over, and there was nobody there to field it. By the time the shortstop got to it, he was standing on first base.
4 pitches, 4 swings and misses from Joey Dixon.
Yeah, Joey Dixon has kind of reached back and come up with a little bit more velocity than we'd seen all the first inning here in the second.
It's got to be another fastball right here,
I would think so.
Pickoff move to first.
Until they prove that they can hit that 93, 94, keep coming with it. Jackson at first base, 8 steal attempts. He's 4 for 8 on the season.
The 0-1, Jackson takes off. This one outside. The throw is in time. Jackson caught stealing, and that'll end the inning. Joey Dixon picks up a couple of strikeouts, and the Sun Devils can't add on to their lead, but still are ahead 3-0 as we step aside here on Pac-12 Insider. Wall of Fame out in left field. Take a look at some of the incredible Sun Devils have come through and put up Hall of Fame careers.
Oh, O.W. McDowell does not have.
Really?
It is the letter O.
How about that?
And he confirmed that. He said, yes, it is the letter O, not the number 0. But, yes, and there's a lot more that are going to be added up to that wall here very shortly. Last season was before. So it's time to add a few more numbers up there from those amazing teams we had from 05, 06, 07, 08, 9, 10.
This is college baseball's greatest tradition. Sun Devils always at the top of the lists when it comes to producing MLB talent.
And boy, I got to tell you, it sure is entertaining to have, big-time Pac-12 baseball games here in May at Phoenix Muni. There's an energy that you just really can't duplicate.
And I've been impressed with Sun Devil Nation coming out and supporting. The first 2 games were chock full. Even had some Stanford fans make the trip as well. They've been making noise as well. It's a great atmosphere.
We want to see a regional here at Muni so badly. It's just, there's nothing like a home regional, and the crowd gets into it, you'll fill the place, and man, it's an experience, and
that it is.
I think the ship's pointing in the right direction.
Fastball catches the outside corner. 2-2 the count on the shortstop, Owen Cobb. Cobb picked up a couple of hits in the game last night. This one hit sharply into center field. It's a leadoff single. Cobb takes a big turnaround first, and he'll stay there.
Just so not used to seeing Stanford only hit singles.
Right.
It seems like every time they make contact, it's an extra base hit.
Yeah, they had to settle for a couple singles yesterday, but still lots of balls being blasted off the wall and over the fence. Here's Park, walked his first time up.
Middle of that Sun Devil infield, playing near the second base bag, hoping for a double play. Newt Contradas playing a little bit closer to the second base side of third, just off the cut of the grass, just in case there's maybe a bunt shows up from the leadoff hitter.
Swing and a miss. Counts even at a ball and a strike. '66 base hits for Park, best on the team. Dunn working downstairs, looking for that double play like you mentioned.
Park not offering, checking his, getting signals from the dugout. You can see he's got that, looks like the wrist coach around his belt there in his midsection. He looked at that to see what sign was coming in.
Pickoff throw to first. Back is Cobb.
I almost wonder if that pickoff throw to first was called by the catcher by the dugout, just to see if Stanford had something on after Park went and looked at the dugout for a sign and then checked his wrist coach.
This one's high. It kicks off the glove of Campos to the backstop. Cobb is able to make it into second.
Let's see what they call that. I think it's going to be a wild pitch. Yeah, it is a wild pitch.
Yeah, maybe a mix-up of sorts. It looks like Campos was not expecting that location.
Yeah, definitely not. Campos kind of awkwardly had to throw his left arm there to just even get a piece of glove on it.
Done behind 3-1. Park maybe looking to send this ball to the right side, get the run over to third. And he lays off a pitch outside, and he's aboard with a 5-pitch walk.
Second time tonight, Parker's gotten a free pass to first base. Or today, I should say.
Not what you want to do with the likes of Tommy Troy behind him.
Now, it's second time in 3 innings that the Cardinal have gotten the first 2 men on, and now Tommy Troy has a chance to bring a run home for the Cardinal.
With that, we're going to send it over to Olivia Eisenhower.
Yeah, the Valley Pride, as we know, runs deep with former Devil and Diamondback Willie Bloomquist at the helm of the Sun Devils now. The former Cardinal Tim Tawa was actually drafted in 2021 by Arizona's hometown team. The outfielder currently with the AA affiliate Amarillo Sod Poodles batting .225, but the Stanford baseball alum said he appreciates most about head coach Dave Esker is he cares so much about each individual player, trusts them, adding that he's a big selfie guy in the big moments and from his former players he loves to receive them. So next time you need a photo photo op, you know who to contact. And I think it's also worth noting that I walked past at least 4 separate scouts just from the Diamondbacks alone today here in the presence of the Diamondbacks and Devils.
Thank you, Olivia. Stanford right up there with ASU in terms of producing big league talent.
It's a great name for a minor league team, too, the Sod Poodles.
It's incredible. This one's a drive, deep right center field. This one's back, and this one's going to go. Tommy Troy at it again. His 3rd homer of the series, and this game's tied.
Boy, he didn't wait a whole long time to get something he liked, did he?
Not at all.
And that ball was a no-doubter. Isaiah Jackson tried to give a chase in center field, but eventually just looked up and realized he had no shot. And just like that, we are back even. But now it's important for Ross Dunn to shake it off. You know, treat this like top of the inning. Nothing. Nobody on first batter.
Clean slate to work with, but you've got the heart of the order coming up, starting with Carter Graham. First pitch swinging, fouls it back.
It's free bases will kill you, and they'll drive a coach crazy. They were able to avoid it in the first inning, but not here in the 3rd.
And that's kind of what's allowed Stanford to get some of these crooked numbers, and the snowball innings tend to have lots of free bases.
Yep, absolutely. Be it error, walk, hit by pitch. Even that wild pitch that sent Cobb over to second base, took a double play off, changes your approach to the way you're facing a hitter.
1-2 on Graham.
Pitch count starting to creep up now for Ross Dunn as there's action in the bullpen.
Swing and a miss. Graham down for the 2nd time on strikes. That's the first out of the inning.
There's a righty up in the bullpen for the Sun Devils. There's no chance of me seeing that number with these yellow.
No, not at all.
With the gold numbers on the white jerseys.
Sounds like it might be Matt Teeding, number 47, getting loose out there. That's a guy who can give you length.
I do like these uniforms they're wearing, but those numbers need some sort of piping around them, or
exactly,
or
some sort of border.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you got to help the broadcasters out a little bit.
Do you like the all-white look? I think it's pretty slick.
I do. I like the Sparky head on the hat too. It's a different look compared to the AS that's normally on there, but anytime you can get Sparky some love, I'm all for it.
You said it.
He's over there on the first base side. You got his face in the pitchfork right in front of the Sun Devil dugout.
There's a high fly ball into center field. Jackson camped under it, and he's got it for out number 2.
It's a nice play by Jackson out there. You could tell he was battling that sun. Tried to find an angle where he could find the ball, and he was able to make that catch. Get a big second out.
Tracking fly balls in the outfield with pure sun, it's one of the most difficult things to do. I stand by that.
Oh, absolutely.
2 down for Rios. After that monster game on Friday in which he went 4 for 5, 5 RBI and 2 homers, had a relatively quiet game yesterday, 1 for 5, but did pick up an RBI single.
Yeah, he was definitely the Sun Devil killer on Friday night.
That he was. Ahead 2-0. Swinging a high fly ball, this one drifting foul.
Well, he had a chance to do big-time damage in the first inning before New Contradas was able to turn that double play. But that's the guy Stanford would want up with the bases loaded.
Yeah, no doubt, as Rios at one point this season had an 11 RBI game back in March. Tries to check his swing, appeal to first, he held up in time. So it's 3-1. Dunn looking to fade his 3rd walk of the game. This one upstairs, ball 4. Rios aboard with 2 down for Malcolm Moore.
25th walk of the season drawn by Rios against only 26 strikeouts. That's another number that just, it's eye-popping when you think of a guy with that much power, can drive home that many runs, and the walks and strikeouts are even and not at a very high number. Plate discipline. That's a Stanford staple for their baseball program.
And that's why they're able to get runs in bunches when you got guys on base and all the power we've seen up and down the lineup. They're not hitting solo shots. It's 3-run homers, 2-run homers, grand slams, all that whole sort of thing. This one gets away from Campos. Taking second base is Rios.
Campos just couldn't find the ball, and there was no chance. Once he did locate it, Rios was already most of the way down to second base, so that'll be a wild pitch. And I think part of that is just Campos not having those reps behind the plate for so long.
And not only does it take time to get back to game speed at the plate, but also on defense, especially when you're a catcher.
Absolutely. You have your pitching staff you have to manage, you have your defense you have to manage, and you have to make those plays behind the plate. It's hard when you haven't played in a month.
Roston really laboring here in the third. This one gets away from Campos. Rios gets into third.
Yeah, I think that one might have hit the plate because it bounced so high up.
So 2 wild pitches after the walk allow a run to get up to third.
I mean, that ball bounced way up in the air. It looks like it absolutely bounced off that front part of the plate. No chance for Campos to keep it in front of him.
Dunn's going to take a minute here. Long look in. Over 60 pitches now through 2 2/3. Here's the 2-0 to Moore. This one high. It pops out of the glove of Campos.
Yeah, Campos. I think Campos and Dunn just need to take a deep breath each. Because now it's in the back of both of their heads.
Here's the 3-0. Moore taking all the way. That one in there for a strike.
Now this is the pitch that Moore is going to be sitting on. So you got to be careful here.
This is where you single out one pitch, one spot, especially with 2 down and 2 bases open. Moore shoots it to left field. Coming in is Vu, and he's got it on the run. So the Cardinal tie the game up on a 3-run blast from Tommy Troy. The Sun Devils looking to answer back in the bottom of the third on Pac-12 Insider. We're back for the bottom of the third inning here at Phoenix Muni on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, and Tommy Troy hit his 10th home run of the year, 3rd of the series, to tie this ball game up at 3.
Yeah, he's got 5 hits on the weekend. He's just been crushing Sun Devil pitching. 3 for 6 last night, 3 runs scored, 2 RBI. Friday night, 1 for 3, 2 runs scored, an RBI. He's just found himself on base a whole lot this weekend.
So Troy has now joined the ranks of the double-digit home run club. He's now tied with Braden Montgomery for 2nd on the team. And the Sun Devils looking to answer back with Joey Dixon still on the mound and the leadoff man Nick McLean set to take his 2nd at bat of the ball game. He was at the plate when Isaiah Jackson was thrown out trying to steal second base in the bottom of the 2nd.
Yeah, so McLean got a couple of preview pitches and saw everything now. It's almost like this is his 3rd at bat, even though it's only officially his 2nd at bat. So he's seen everything that Dixon's going to throw at him, I would think.
This one downstairs.
He led off the Sun Devils bottom of the 1st with a base hit, came around to score on that 3-run double by Tobias.
McLean tries to check his swing. He did so, says third base umpire Jason Benson, who was behind the plate last night.
You could hear the entire Stanford dugout yell, swing. But the third base umpire said, nope.
.96 on the fastball downstairs.
That's by far the most velocity we've seen out of Dixon today.
Wow. There's a strike.
Yeah, I think McLean was taken all the way there.
Well, this Stanford pitching staff throws a lot at you. You got a lot of velo coming from both sides, right and left. This one way off the plate. McLean aboard with the leadoff walk.
It's a nice job right there, not being over-aggressive, knowing you were going to take a look at probably a strike on the 3-0 pitch. Working that count. And again, that's the benefit of having seen him in that previous at-bat that got cut short by the caught stealing.
Dixon over 45 pitches. Still nobody in the Stanford bullpen, so.
Literally no one in the Stanford bullpen.
David Esker feels good about what he's seen from his right-hander. First pitch to Hill. It's lifted foul.
Well, we saw Friday night. Esker's not afraid to run a guy out there with triple-digit pitches if he's being effective. Although I think it might be a little bit different today with that sun bearing down on you and going to get close to 90 degrees. You'll sap your strength quickly.
Breaking ball in there for strike 2. Maybe caught Hill by surprise.
I noticed Stanford didn't wear the black tops tonight.
Oh, that was yeah, an obvious decision.
Yeah.
Both teams rolling out different looks for each of the games. 0-2 to Hill. Swing and a miss. Third punch out of the game for Joey Dixon.
Yeah, that's 2 straight at bats where Hills looked very, very confused as to what he was going to get. He popped up to second base in the first inning.
Well, Dixon's got deceptive stuff. That's and the second time he's punched out a batter on 3 pitches.
He's got that nice breaking ball. He's got that good snapping fastball.
Outside to Campos for ball 1. Campos singled and scored back in the first. Drops one in for strike 1.
As you mentioned earlier, ASU will head to Los Angeles for what could be their last trip to USC. Dato Field. A 3 with the Trojans, and they'll make a stop at UC Riverside.
McLean takes off. This one is tapped foul down the first base line. Yeah, it's going to be really different without USC and UCLA in the Pac-12.
It's a different world in college athletics. Those are always great road trips to make. Dato Field always felt like a second home for ASU because so many of the Sun Devil fans would come over. Same with Jackie Robinson. You know, it'd be filled with Sun Devil fans. Such an easy trip to make from Tempe.
Yeah. 1-2 to Campos. This one is hit into right center field for a base hit. McLean holds up at second. And that's 2 aboard with 1 down ahead of Luke Keischel.
That's got to feel good for Campos. Campos has got to feel like, okay, I'm starting to get my timing back. I'm starting to see pitches real well. 2 base hits already today. Getting back into the swing of things behind the dish. That's going to be huge for these last 7 regular season games and the push in the postseason.
Yeah, he already looks comfortable back at home at the plate. McLean at second, Campos at first. 1 down for Keischel. Walked and scored in the first. Dixon got a wiggle off the hook. Swing and a miss. As the breaking ball fools Keischel.
Yeah, it looked like Keischel was expecting the heater right there. Was way out in front of that ball. But, you know, I was talking about earlier USC and Andy Stankiewicz. You know, Stankiewicz has been the coach of Grand Canyon for so long, and these 2, Grand Canyon and ASU, played each other so many times. So, again, there's 2 programs that are going to know each other well because of the coaching staff.
Keischel drives this one, center field, and under it is Park. Fires it back in to keep McLean there at second. That was a loud out number 2.
It really was, and Park initially broke back and was like, whoa, I can stay right where I'm at. It's right at me. And Park showing that strong arm on that throw to third. McLean thought about it, but good thing he didn't, because I think he would have been dead to rights at third base.
Definitely got fooled a little bit by Park's initial read. Like you mentioned, he looked like he was ready to go scale the wall, but then he said, oh, yeah, came in a couple steps and was able to make the out.
Solid contact, but it might have gotten caught up in that wind a little bit and hung it up just enough for Park to get under it.
Tobias shoots it out to left field, and it just goes foul.
Tried to put the ball in the same place he did his first at bat, just on the opposite side.
Wasn't hit quite as hard, but same idea. So the hitting streak now up to 11 games for the Sun Devil first baseman, as his sophomore campaign continues to impress. Lays off the fastball upstairs. Well, here you go, a runner in scoring position, 2 outs, an opportunity to get the lead back.
Tobias, a .321 hitter with 2 outs, .446 with runners in scoring position.
Fastball inside, scoots Tobias off the plate.
57 RBI this season for Tobias, with the 3 he had back in the first.
Two on the way. Swing and a tapper, foul.
I think that's a swing Tobias wants back. You could tell he was not happy with himself when he finished the swing and then realized, oh, I better at least try and run to first because that might roll fair.
Well, let's see what Dixon goes to here with 2 strikes and 2 outs, trying to keep this game tied.
What would you throw here?
I think I'd go off speed. I feel like Tobias is geared up for a fastball.
I agree.
And that's what he goes to, 82, but just a little bit downstairs.
It's a good pitch. I like the idea. I was with you. I think he's going to be waiting on that fastball. Now do you throw the breaking ball here, or do you come after him with the heater?
I think you go heater. We'll see.
I think you throw the old number 1 and just blow it by him. Oh, went breaking ball. Tobias is able to fight it off.
Well, that fastball alone has been able to generate plenty of swing and miss. Do you have a base open? Contrada's on deck. Runners will be off with the pitch. McLean at second, Campos at first. Here it is. Tobias lifts it foul.
That time he came with the heat, 95 miles an hour. Tobias able to just get a piece. Good battle here between Tobias and Dixon.
This is a big pitch early in the game. Once again, a offensive battle looming. 3-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Tobias couldn't keep up, and the Devils strand a runner in scoring position. We're still knotted up at 3. We'll be back with the 4th on Pac-12 Insider. Sun Devils
Still weird for me to wrap my head around the fact that you can get a current player name on the back of a jersey. Remember, we used to do shirt off your back day back at Packard Stadium, and it was, you had to either get it signed by all 3 players, you had to take the name by 3 players, take the nameplates off. So we used to just raffle off the jerseys that didn't have the names on the back, but still to be signed by at least 3 players. Everybody had to have it checked before they left. It was a whole...
Sounds like a lot of hoops to jump through.
It was a lot of hoops. I mean, we raised a lot of money for the baseball program, but there were a lot of hoops to jump through on that shirt off your back promotion. Boy, it was popular, very popular. A lot of horse trading going on amongst players' parents, too.
Yeah. So Ross Dunn back out for his 4th inning of work. He'll face the bottom of the Stanford order, starting with Drew Bowser.
I think this is a critical inning for Ross Dunn right here. He cannot let the leadoff guy get on. He cannot give up free bases. That's been a problem for him. He's walked the leadoff hitter in the first, walked the leadoff hitter in the third. Third, they came around to score. Sorry, I gave up a base hit to the leadoff hitter in the first. Came around to score. Walked the leadoff hitter in the first. And if it hadn't been for a big-time double play by Contradas, could have been some damage done. So important not to give up free bases, particularly to the leadoff hitter.
Well, he's in danger of doing just that and walking Bowser behind 3-0. Bowser has walked once in this series, did so back on Friday.
And I know they've used a lot of pitchers this weekend, but you have to wonder how long that leash is for Dunn at this point.
There's a get-me-over fastball.
Got to give him something to hit here. Let your defense behind you do their job.
Bowser smokes it. A diving attempt by Tobias, but it goes into right field. It's another base hit for Bowser. It's going to be his 5th of the series.
Well, it just seems like he's been on base the entire 3 games.
Here's another guy who's done a lot of damage. It's Jake Sapien. Had a 2-double performance on Friday, hit his 2nd homer of the season yesterday. Bowser dancing around over at first. That one misses below the knees.
I don't think Campos liked that call. He just kind of shook his head a little bit before he threw the ball back to Dunn.
Dunn out of the stretch. Fires. Now he's fallen behind on the first 2 batters in the 4th.
And there is action in the bullpen now for the Sun Devils.
Yeah, you'd have to figure the leash not going to be too long here with ASU trying to just stave off a sweep. Already lost the series. That one catches the zone.
Every win's going to be so important here on out, not just for conference standings, but for that chance to host the regional. They got to fight off Oregon for that number 2 spot in the Pac-12 as standings stand right now. Not saying that first place in the Pac-10 or Pac-12 isn't still attainable, but you got Oregon nipping at your heels there from 3rd.
Oregon, of course, took 2 out of 3 against Arizona State head-to-head. Done behind 3-1 on Sapien. So on a high chopper to 3rd. Contradas has it. Goes to 2nd for 1. The throw to 1st is in time. 5-4-3 double play started by New Contradas.
New Contradas is playing some 3rd base this weekend. What a play. Great leaping stab. Made a perfect throw to 2nd base and a great turn throw to 1st base. That's big-time defense right there by the Sun Devils.
So they kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and now they've got the 9-hitter Owen Cobb up with 2 down and
what is David
nobody
Esker?
On.
Yeah, David Esker is going to come out and challenge something, it looks like. He's sending Bowser back out to 2nd base. And the umpires are going to have a meeting. And boy, you might want to keep an eye on Willie Bloomquist because he might go snake if something here happens that he doesn't like.
Yeah.
That looked like a pretty clean double play to me.
I concur, but
we've seen crazier things this weekend.
Oh, we have, absolutely. Yeah, we can see Willie Bloomquist waiting on the top step as he's probably a little agitated right now.
Well, and I find it interesting that Esker set the runner back to 2nd base, and now the umpires are going to call Willie out.
Obviously, we can't hear what's being discussed. We don't have replays, so we can't.
No, but the Stanford first base coach just gave Sapien's arm brace to another Stanford staffer, which would seem to me to indicate that they think he's going to be able to be staying at first base. And Bowser staying out there at second base. Willie's trying to get an explanation. Not that I'm sure we're going to know what the call is going to end up being.
Well, again, the call on the field is that it was a 5-4-3 double play.
And now we're going to have a replay. I don't know what's being replayed, though.
Not sure if, I mean, considering they sent Bowser back to second, they must think both runners were safe.
Yeah, maybe they're saying that the throw to second base, that, you know, when Keishel fielded it, he didn't get his foot on the bag. I mean, it was a great play by Contreras. Snapped that ball out of midair, made a nice throw to second base. So I guess my only question would be, was the second baseman's foot not on the bag? And then are they challenging that? Are they challenging the call at first base? Are they asking for some sort of interference?
Could go a lot of ways. You could have a runner at second with one out. You could have a runner at first with one out. You could have two on, nobody out, or
You could have
nobody
bases
on
with two outs.
two outs. It really depends on this replay. And we've seen several calls in this series overturned.
I'm still trying to figure out how they called the ASU runner out for interference at first base on Friday night, when it looked to me like he just was running straight up the line.
Yeah, that was Wyatt Crenshaw.
Yeah. I just think Willie Bloomquist might be trying to figure out what exactly is being challenged.
Well, David Esker,
He saw something.
he exactly saw something. He's as good as they come at the helm.
There was hesitation, though. It's not like he came out of the dugout immediately. I mean, both runners had made their way towards the dugout. Drew Bowser was in the dugout.
They're going to take a long, long look at this one as, like we said, a whole host of outcomes are possible here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for us that they don't have the PA system like they do in Major League Baseball. They can tell us exactly what's being challenged and what the ultimate decision is.
Well, Dunn's going to throw some warm-up pitches to stay loose out there.
Yeah, second time he's had to stop in the middle of an inning for a long challenge.
Well, regardless, Owen Cobb will be the batter when it's all said and done.
I assume. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Crazier things have happened. So, Randy, obviously you've been around this program for a long time. Any particular series that sticks out to you as one of the best that you've ever seen or been a part of?
I'll tell you what, when we won the fourth straight Pac-12 championship, or Pac-10 championship at the time, it was at Sunken Diamond against a really good Stanford ball club. And, you know, no one really thought that we had dominated for those 3 years. And, you know, there was the coaching change, and nobody really knew what to expect from that 2010 team. And Coach Esme took over. There was all the controversy, and we just went out and shut down all the noise and went out and won a fourth straight conference title. And with the #1 seed, yeah, it didn't go the way we wanted to in Omaha. We weren't able to add another flag up to that banner. But that season, I think, stands out for me in particular just because no one knew what to expect going in. You know, the 2009 team was so good, and it was such a disappointing way to lose in Omaha on the walk-off hit against Texas. And then the coaching change happens, and, you know, our ace pitcher doesn't pitch all season that year, and we end up having 3 starters who all get 10 wins. One of them, you know, on the Diamondback staff now, Merrill Kelly. So you just didn't know what to expect, and we went out and had an unbelievable season. And there's that one, and then there was a road series at UCLA, which I think was 2009. UCLA was #2 in the Pac-10. We were #1. They had Cole. They had Trevor Bauer.
Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, I mean, that was a 1-2
punch.
And I remember getting on the bus, and Raul Torres, our team captain, gets on the team bus and goes, "Let's go win a Pac-10 series, boys." And Cole Calhoun goes, "Let's go sweep a Pac-10 series." And that's exactly what we did. We swept the Bruins at UCLA and went on and won the conference. And yeah, those series in particular, you know, winning big time series against Pac-10 rivals, Pac-12 rivals, especially Stanford, was always a good feeling.
No doubt.
This review is getting ridiculous now.
Yeah, it is. This isn't good for anybody involved.
No, it's not good for the game of college baseball when you're going to have a review that takes this long. It's tough on the pitcher because the pitcher, you know, Ross Dunn's now sat here for how long having to throw warm-up pitches. Oh, that's still stress on the arm. Now it looks like we finally have a decision.
Here's the call. Out at second.
It's a double play. So after all of that, it's exactly what happened on the field. And Stanford's going to lose their challenge. Coach Bloomquist fired up. Happy with that call. Now, what we don't know is whether that was confirmed. If they didn't find anything that was enough to overturn, we don't know. But regardless, it's a double play, and Stanford now has 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. That was one of the longer delays I've ever seen.
Oh, it was very long. I know we've mentioned it earlier. It's right up there with the double challenge on the same play a couple series ago against Oregon State, where it was overturned and then eventually overturned to the original call on the field.
There's definitely pluses and minuses when it comes to challenges. You know, you want them to get the call right, but on the other side, you got the crowd out here sitting and waiting. You've got your pitcher out there who's now his arm's going to get cold, so you got to have him throw pitches, and that's going to just add up on his arm fatigue. Particularly when you're already up over 75 pitches.
Yeah, I was going to say you have to wonder now with Dunn up near 80 pitches with the delay. We've had a couple longer challenge delays in this game.
Both with him on the
yeah,
mound.
if that will spell the end of his outing after this. This one's knocked into left center field. Cutting it off is Jackson. Cobb taking a big round around first, headed for second. The throw is not in time. It's a hustle double for Owen Cobb.
Seems like every time Stanford puts the ball anywhere close to the gap, they're thinking 2 out of the box right away. Great throw by Isaiah Jackson, just not in time.
Yeah, and Jackson is, it's not like he's lollygagging out there. He's
he
cutting those balls off in the gap.
Ball off quickly, but
great throws back in.
But these Stanford batters are all thinking, too, as soon as they come out of the box. Once they see where that ball's headed, they're not hesitating at all coming around first base, and Cobb was no different. As soon as he made that turnaround first, he was digging hard for second.
Here's Park with a runner in scoring position, a chance to put his team back out in front.
Now, one thing Stanford has done is they've really made Roston work every inning. He's second, he went 1, 2, 3. But other than that, they have made him throw a lot of high-leverage pitches.
Seems like he's been out of the stretch pretty much all game. But jumps ahead 0-2.
You got to give Stanford credit, though. They hustle every single play. I mean, no hesitation going for 2 on that play.
There's a reason they are 30-13 and a consensus top 10 team in the country as Cobb takes off. The throw from Campos is well late.
Yeah, Campos had to hesitate there because Contreras, I think, was surprised that the runner was breaking from second, was a little late getting over there to cover third base, and they're really lucky that ball didn't end up in left field.
It's especially tough to steal third when you've got a lefty at the plate because the catcher has a wide open lane there to the bag.
But Contreras just a step slow getting over to cover, which was the opening that the runner needed.
Park just gets a piece of it.
And that's the 9th stolen base on the year for Cobb.
Well, we've said it. These Cardinal, they do basically everything right.
They take every single inch you'll give them. They're going to take an extra base every time they have an opportunity, which is something that Arizona State tries to do as well. Both of these teams, they will steal a base, they'll take a base however they can get it.
1-2. Outside, nice block by Campos.
Yeah, now Dunn really needs to focus on the hitter now, not worry about that runner on third. Cobb dancing around, trying to take the attention away from him.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Dunn looking for a scoreless frame. Check swing, and it's a called third strike. Park throws the bat upset, and the Cardinal strand a runner there at third. We're still knotted up at 3 as we head to the bottom of the 4th on Pac-12 Insider. We're back in the bottom of the 4th inning on this 3rd and final game of the 3-game set between 2 top 20 programs. ASU and Stanford tied up at 3. There's Owen Cobb, the shortstop, who had yet another hustle double, and we talked about it. That sequence where he gets the double and steals third kind of exemplifies the hustle and the grit of this team.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't strike the ball particularly hard enough to get to the wall, but you could tell it was going to be in the gap, and as you mentioned, it's not like Isaiah Jackson took his time cutting the ball off in left center. He got to the ball quick and made a great throw in, but Cobb was out of the box so fast and never hesitated rounding first base. He had his eyes on second base from the second he left the batter's box.
Yep, that's what the great teams do. They take bases where they can get them. They also get good starting pitching, which Joey Dixon, since giving up a 3 spot in the first, has bounced back with back-to-back scoreless frames.
Yeah, he's been really good since that first inning.
Fastball off the plate. Moore tried to frame it up.
Contreras grounded out to the catcher. First time up back in the first.
This one ripped foul into the Stanford dugout.
Boy, Contreras has been really, really great at third base this entire weekend. He's made some unbelievable plays, including starting that double play last inning. Had to go up really high to get that ball and made a great throw to second base.
2-1. Front door breaking ball. Evens up the count at 2-2.
Can be such a lift for a team. You have a defender who can make plays like that and, still hit .317 with 8 bombs at the plate. It's been a real solid addition to this Sun Devil team.
The Sun Devils have been spoiled in recent years with tremendous offensive and defensive production on the left side of the infield. You go back to Drew Swift, Alika Williams, to name a few. 2-2. High fly ball into shallow right field. Coming in is Montgomery, and he's got it.
You might have lost that ball in the sun for a second, but boy, I'll tell you, one of the things that's so impressive about this ASU team is the youth and what they've shown us. I mean, Nick McLean is a redshirt sophomore. You've got Nuke Contreras as a freshman. Luke Hill's a freshman. Kean Vu's a freshman. They've just got so many good young players who are big-time contributors, guys like Isaiah Jackson. I mean, I could keep going and going and going. Guys who are getting such valuable experience this year and playing well and playing winning baseball.
The future is bright. That is for sure. As the trajectory, the arrow for this program is pointed upwards.
I mean, the expectations are always there. It's just hard to live up to those expectations. But the key is to make those expectations known from the day they step on campus. That's what's made this program so great for all those years. Is it was Omaha. I know a lot of teams don't want to talk about, one step at a time, but Willie Bloomquist, from the day he was named head coach, has made it very clear what the goal of this program is, and that is to get back to Omaha.
Swing and a miss. 95 on the heater, and Crenshaw down on strikes for the second time. Well, in order to get to Omaha, you got to get guys here who want to be here, who work hard, play hard.
They have to buy into what you're preaching as well.
Exactly.
I think that's the key.
And I think that's what Willie Bloomquist has done a phenomenal job of, is he's constructed this roster both through high school recruiting and the transfer portal to get guys here that fit the mold of what this program is trying to do. And here's a guy that pretty much meets that description in Isaiah Jackson.
Absolutely right. I mean, you said, the first thing you said when Cobb stretched that ball into a double, it's not like Jackson was dogging it out there. He got over there quickly and cut it off and made a great throw to second base. Those are the kind of things where, yeah, he could have taken a step off and gotten to that ball slowly, but he didn't, because he knows what's at stake and he knows that he needs to get to that ball quickly. And that's in the model of their head coach.
1-1 the count, 2 down in the inning.
You don't play as many years in Major League Baseball as Willie did by accident. So you learn his figure too, and you can teach kids that.
Yeah, Willie was a gamer, that's for sure. Played with the D-backs, the Mariners, had a long MLB career after a tremendous career here at Arizona State, taking over for his alma mater in his second season. Swing and a miss. And Joey Dixon is on a roll. Strikes out 2 in the fourth. As we head to the fifth, still knotted up at 3 here on Pac-12 Insider. We're back in the top of the fifth inning. Arizona State and Stanford all knotted up at 3. We were talking about before the break the importance of the transfer portal, and here's Olivia Eisenhower with more on the portal.
Yeah, thank you. I had a chance to speak to Dave Esker ahead of this matchup, and I talked to him about recruiting and his thoughts on the portal, and he brought up a really important point. Stanford can't recruit just like other schools. They don't have very many transfer students in because it doesn't allow, academically, they don't allow for that to happen. As for ASU's almost all transfers this season, but there's also a highlight to that for Stanford is you don't see guys leave the program, and you're really able to shape them and form them into that rich Stanford culture that everyone knows about.
Thank you, Olivia. That's definitely something Stanford has to battle with is the portal and the restrictions that come with that, with the academic requirements there.
That's been one of the problems for their football program. You know, on the baseball side, I don't know that they're going to have such an issue because, as Olivia mentioned, you're going to get guys to come for 3 or 4 years, and Stanford could be such a draw, and the baseball program is so successful. But with their football program not being as strong as it has been in the past, not being able to mine that transfer portal can really be hard to build a program back up.
Swing and a miss. 1-1 on Tommy Troy. Yeah, and it seems like the portal is a way for teams who are trying to rebuild. They can do it quicker that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say that's one way you can build a program back up. You're not going to have these 5, 8, 10-year program build-ups like you've seen in the past because you can go get kids from the transfer portal.
I think it's better for everybody. It's better for the fans, the players. This one's ripped foul.
Well, I mean, you know as a college student, and I know as a former college student, that sometimes things just aren't a fit. And you shouldn't be locked into a place just because you came there to play a sport if it's not a good fit for you, and you shouldn't be punished for having to move. If you decided you want to go somewhere else, you'd be allowed to go to another school without serving any sort of penalty, right? You can't. It's not like you couldn't go broadcast for another school and it to sit out a year.
Yeah, I think the portal, the best thing it does is it holds people accountable, in my opinion. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back punch-outs for Dunn, and a big out number 1 here in the 5th.
I mean, look, it's a different college athletics world than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and everybody's going to have to adjust. But I think ultimately it's going to be a good thing for the student athlete, and really that's what it's all about.
Here's Graham. First pitch, a drive in a left field. Going back on it is Vu, and he's got it on the track.
Vu did a really nice job seeing that ball off the bat right away.
Yeah, it looks like he had a real nice beat on it. And for Dunn, you'll take it 1 out on 1 pitch.
Yeah, and now if he can get through Montgomery, it would be a really big boost to him.
Well, Dunn retired the side in order back in the 2nd. Looking to do the same here in the 5th. 2 down for Montgomery. Nobody on.
Montgomery singled in the 1st, flew out to center in the 3rd.
Still just 2 hits for Montgomery on the series. Looking to break out. That one maybe just a little bit off the plate. It was close. Dunn behind 2-0.
Yeah, that's been the one thing we've seen with Dunn today. When he falls behind, he has a hard time coming back and getting that count even. So this is a big 2-0 pitch for him.
Dunn trying to avoid walking Montgomery with 2 outs.
Yeah, with Rios on deck, you have to wonder if he loses Montgomery, if that might be it, because it looks like there's a guy ready up in the pen.
We've seen Teeting, we've seen Lemimoff get loose out there. Does appear that it's a right-hander. Get me over fastball in for a strike. And it's going to be 37, so that'll be Lemimoff. Ball 4. Montgomery aboard with another walk as he continues to add to that team-leading total.
4th walk of the day given up by Ross Dunn. That looks like they're going to leave him in to face Rios here. 37th walk of the year issued by Dunn.
Rios 0 for 1 with a walk. Dunn back out of the stretch. This is away. Rios out of St. John Bosco High School in Bellflower, California. It's a high fly ball into center field. Coming in is Jackson, and he's got it. Ross Dunn gets through 5. We're still all tied up at 3 as we head to the bottom of the 5th on Pac-12 Insider. Fire up the grill. Plenty of great food options here at the ballpark as we enter the bottom of the 5th inning here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium.
How about Ross Dunn working himself out of that jam? That's a very, very solid start. I'm going to guess when he's hovering around 100 pitches, he might be finished, but that's a really solid Sunday start from Ross Dunn.
Yeah, just a gutsy outing, and like we talked about, he had to fight through some long delays and long at-bats. Gave up the 3-run blast to Tommy Troy, but aside from that one pitch, he's been pretty good.
Yeah, when he got himself into trouble, he was able to work out of it most of the time. And yeah, those long delays those can be just it throws your timing off. Your arm gets tired. Your arm gets cold. So credit to him for battling for those 5 innings.
Kian Vu to lead it off. And Joey Dixon really in a groove as he's got back-to-back strikeouts to end the 4th, retired the side in order, and since allowing a 1-out single to Campos back in the 3rd, he's retired 5 straight.
And he's been real economical with his pitches in that sequence too.
Even the strikeouts, they've all been 3-4 pitch at bats.
Yeah, it has not been long at bats.
This one popped up, and it's going to drift foul onto the concourse. Kian Vu had a productive night last night. Scored a couple of times, walked and singled. Dixon steps off. One, two. Upstairs with the fastball. They appeal to 3rd. Jason Benson says no swing.
Yeah, I was surprised they even appealed at all. That didn't look like it was even close.
No.
Trying to steal a strike there.
The pitch. Called 3rd strike. Dropped it in there at 82 miles an hour, and Vu didn't like the call, but that's 3 straight punch-outs for Dixon.
4 of the last 5.
Well, he's got it rolling, and this is kind of what we saw with Quinn Matthews on Friday. You got...
Yeah, you thought you had him on the ropes, and then he just came right back.
And if we look back, I think he ended the game with something like 5 strikeouts in the last 7 batters or something like that. Dixon on a similar pace.
Yeah, ASU's going to try and get deeper in counts and make him work a little bit harder.
Nick McLean has reached both times.
Well, there's no action out in the Sun Devil bullpen right now, so maybe Ross Dunn is coming back out unless they're going to get somebody up to throw a few quick ones because they're already heated up.
How about that? 95-mile-an-hour fastball right at the knees.
Yeah, it seems to me like Dixon's just getting stronger as this game goes on.
I think so.
Hasn't lost any velocity. His commands come around.
Downstairs. 3-1 to McLean, who's by far had the most productive day at the plate of any Sun Devil batter. Swing and a miss.
94 there on a ball that was high and outside.
Joey Dixon has punched out 9 batters in consecutive games. So he's finding a way to strike guys out as he puts Nick McLean on first for the 2nd time via the walk.
See, that's the kind of at-bat they needed. Make him throw a lot of pitches, get a free base. Now, I'm interested to see the adjustments that Hill's made because he's really struggled the first 2 times he faced Dixon here.
And he popped out and struck out.
Maybe just not seeing the ball great from the right-handed Dixon.
Or he hasn't been up with runners in scoring position, which is when he seems to thrive.
That's true.
As we've said many times throughout this series. Pick off to first. McLean's back. Wondering, do you put McLean in motion even though he hasn't been much of a base stealer this year? Just try to get something going, considering Dixon's in such a groove.
Yeah, and especially since Hill struggled with the first two at-bats. Maybe so.
Well, that one looked good.
Maybe
Maybe
a little
just
low.
a little low. Dixon maybe looking for a ground ball here. McLean with his lead at first. Dixon fires. Possibly a makeup call.
Yeah, that pitch looked a lot worse than the pitch that was called ball 2, but either way, it's 2-1.
No harm, no foul. See if Hill can find a gap here. Well, that was a nice breaking ball, but caught a lot of the zone.
Yeah, and I bet Hill wishes that he had offered at that one. After that crossed the plate, probably thought to himself, oh boy, that was a hanger. I probably should have put a swing on.
Just looks very in between on his timing. Pick off to first. Back is McLean.
McLean doesn't look like he's going anywhere. Doesn't have a very huge lead, but Dixon definitely worried about him. If you remember back in the first, he already threw one away with McLean on first base.
Luke Hill, chopper back up the middle. It's gloved by Cobb. They go to second, and he's safe.
That ball was almost in slow motion as it made its way to second base. I'm surprised they tried to get the runner at second because there was no way they were going to get McLean.
Yeah, that was a real tough play for the Stanford shortstop to make. And here comes the catcher, Campos. 2 on, 1 out.
Well, they're going to give Hill a single. Now Ryan Campos has a chance to really announce that he's back. In a big situation here in the bottom of the fifth.
.412 batting average for the Sun Devil catcher. 7 homers, 21 driven in. Batting over .400 with runners on and with runners in scoring position.
Already 2 hits today. Single to center, single to right.
It's a good looking breaking ball. Can't find the zone.
Maybe a bit high.
Possibly.
And now you got Dixon hovering around that 100 pitch mark.
Well, regardless of how this inning goes, it's been a pretty solid start for Dixon. Finds the zone there with a fastball.
Yeah, Dixon's been very good. I mean, you can see why Stanford is as good as they are. They've got really good starting pitching. And a back-end closer who's nigh unhittable.
And this,
as we say that, some folks are going to make their way out to the Stanford bullpen.
Campos, a grounder to second. Bowser goes to second for 1. They get it on to first. Campos beats it out. And making it up to third is McLean with 2 down in the inning. And as Luke Keischel steps up to the plate, we're going to send it over to Olivia Eisenhower.
Yeah, as Keischel steps to the plate, like you mentioned, what you can see is he's had a pretty good weekend. I mean, he had 2 homers yesterday. What you can see is Coach Willie Bloomquist mentioned that he had a 103-degree fever yesterday. I was talking to some of the training staff. He's been dealing with some kind of bug all weekend. He's down there with some, like, throat coat from Vicks. in between innings, putting that on his throw in the dugout, but he's been showing up separately later because he hasn't been feeling well to do separate warm-ups and hasn't necessarily made it through all of them without throwing up, but he's clearly doing pretty well at the plate.
You would never know that he has a fever, the way he's swinging the bat. Chance to put his team ahead.
Well, it's that time of year where you just got to ignore everything else and just go out and play.
No doubt. McLean at third, Campos at first. It's a big at bat. Keishel rips it to third. Troy goes the short way for the final out of the inning. So Joey Dixon continues his impressive performance. He's able to strand two and keep this game tied. We'll be right back with the sixth on Pac-12 Insider. Ross Dunn back out for his sixth inning of work. He's right around triple digits in terms of the pitch count. Maybe leaving him in to face the lefty Malcolm Moore was part of the rationale to keep him in the ball game?
Yeah, he's gotten more the first two times he's faced him. There is somebody up in the bullpen, right-hander ready to go, so maybe it's a one-batter thing. But, you know, you talk about how he's hovering around those triple digits. Don't forget, we've talked about it, 2 long delays for replays where he had to throw warm-up pitches, and those don't count in your pitch count, but they count against your arm.
That's true. Again, it's going to be Malcolm Moore, Drew Bowser, Jake Sapien. ASU still has a right-hander getting loose in the pen. So we'll see how long they opt to stick with Dunn here.
And Stanford does have action out in their bullpen as well.
I'll tell you what, both pitchers had rough innings. For Dunn, it was the third. For Dixon, it was the first. But both have done a nice job to bounce back and deliver pretty solid outings.
Yeah, they have. And when they've worked themselves into trouble, they've worked themselves out of trouble.
Moore 0 for 2. First pitch swinging, drives it to right field. That's a fair ball down the line. All the way into the corner. That's going to be an extra base hit for Moore to lead off the inning. And Stanford is in business.
And that's going to bring Willie Bloomquist out of the dugout.
Well, that'll do it for Ross Dunn. It was an impressive start, 5 innings of work. The book is not closed on him. He'll be responsible for Moore over there at second base. But overall, an encouraging start from the left-hander.
Yeah, absolutely. He gave you everything he had, and he kept your team in there, and that's what you want from your starter on a Sunday.
So we are going to step aside here on Pac-12 Insider, and we'll be back with the new Sun Devil pitcher. Nolan Lebemoff, the right-hander, the bullpen for the Sun Devils. Run at second base, nobody out, but a chance to face the bottom of this.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for Lebemoff to come in with that go-ahead run standing out there at second base. But his attitude has to be, okay, I'm here to face 3 batters and not worry about that runner on second base. If at all possible, and especially I think part of that decision making was how many pitchers the Sun Devils have already used this weekend, and knowing that we're only in the 6th inning. But yeah, you're right. I think ideally, coming into that situation, you want to be able to the reliever to come in at the top of the inning and just start things off. Final numbers for Dunn: 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 runs, all earned, but he is responsible for the runner at second. Walked 4, 3 wild pitches, hit a batter. Allowed 2 doubles, a home run, 96 total pitches. But all in all, I think a pretty solid start on the Sunday afternoon for Ross Dunn.
Definitely a lot to hang your hat on for Ross Dunn. That's a performance. His team in a position to win a ball game. Nolan Lebemoff pitched last night with a scoreless inning. Strikeouts as well.
Yeah, especially, Sapien at the DH spot hitting in the 8-hole. Hadn't had a whole lot of at-bats come in, but he's been a very, very solid contributor all weekend for the Cardinal.
One to Bowser.
Lebeloff's going to face 3 straight righties are the scheduled hitters for Stanford. And I think you're right. I think the lefty-lefty matchup played into the fact that they left Dunn out there to face Moore to lead off the inning.
Bowser, here, left center field. Coming in is Vu, and he's got it.
That's a really great play by Vu out there. Had to go a really long way to make that play. That ball just hung up there. Good communication, but I thought off the bat that ball had a real chance to drop in. And the outfield's playing straight away, and that was a really long run for Vu.
Back, and it is gone. Jake Sapien does it again. 2-run shot put the Cardinal up 5-3.
Boy, he put a charge into that ball. Just hung one out there, and Sapien didn't miss it. His fourth, his fourth homer of the season for Sapien, who coming in, like I mentioned, had not had very many at-bats entering this weekend series.
Have a weekend, Jake Sapien.
Yeah, Jake Sapien coming in had 44 at-bats, had played in only 19 games coming into this weekend series. Had 1 homer and 7 RBI.
So the bottom of the order, once again, bites the Sun Devils for Stanford.
Sun Devils are going to have themselves some work to do, and it looks like it's going to come against a new pitcher as the Stanford bullpen continues to be busy out there. But they got to get out of this top of the 6th first.
Still anyone's ball game. Sun Devils come back from much larger deficits. Been doing it all season. This one is smoked in left field. Going off board for the 3rd time. It's 3 base hits.
Yeah, that bottom half of the Cardinal lineup. Bowser with a single. Sapien just hit that home run, and the 3rd hit of the ball game for Cobb out of the 9 spot.
Just a testament to how deep this lineup is. You generally want to throw strikes to the 7, 8, 9 hitters. You don't want to pitch around them too much, but you get the 7, 8, 9 hitters like Stanford have, it comes back to burn you.
Yeah, they can beat you 1 through 9, that's for sure. Like that was a hit and run. As Cobb took off early, and Park just didn't put a very good swing on the ball, which is why I think it was a hit and run as opposed to a straight steal. Fouls it back into his own dugout.
Still just 1 out of the inning. So Malcolm Moore's 1 run will be a charge to Ross Dunn. Second, hit 1, and they double off Cobb at third. Sun Devils on the way back into this game, the bottom of the 6th. It's 5-3 Stanford here on Pac-12 Insider. Max Meyer, the new pitcher on for the Stanford Cardinal. He'll come in relief for Joey Dixon, who completed 5 innings, a 3-run ball. And ASU surrendered 2 runs on a 2-run blast courtesy of Jake Sapien in the top half, so they're going to have to fight their way back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's been their battle cry all season long. Far way back, and they have to do it again here on Sunday. It's a Sunday afternoon, as we've seen for the first 2 games in the series. 2 runs doesn't seem like a whole lot.
Not at all. So ASU will send 5, 6, 7 to the plate. That's Tobias, Contradas, and Crenshaw. Meyer gets his last couple warm-up pitches. You take a look at the numbers, and the ERA is just a touch under 10. 17 punch-outs in 15 1/3.
This is a guy they can get to, and they've been so good all year at getting into the hitting bullpen pitchers, and they're going to have to do it again. But let's talk about that performance by Dixon. 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 3 walks, 7 Ks, and it just seemed like every time after the first inning he got himself into trouble, he worked out of it.
Stanford trying to get yet another series sweep over the Sun Devils. ASU trying to stave it off and break this losing streak against Stanford. Get a little momentum heading down the stretch. A couple weeks left in the Pac-12 season, like we've been mentioning. Here's Tobias. He's had himself a nice day, 1 for 2. Picked up 3 RBI with the double in the first. First pitch from Meyer. Outside for ball 1.
Throws so well for those 5 innings, and now you get a guy with a funky delivery coming in for the 6th. No rest for the weary.
Yeah, he's kind of got a sort of a sidewind delivery to the plate there.
Almost like a slingshot.
This one is skied high in the air, shallow center, and it's caught by Cobb. Really had to fight the sun to get that one.
Yeah, that was not an easy play at all for Cobb, but good job to stay with it and get that leadoff hitter.
Here's Contradas, 0 for 2. First pitch from Meyer. It's fouled back.
Well, I've been really impressed with Contradas' defense this weekend, and he does some nice things with the bat too, but that defense that he brings can be such a lift for a team.
No doubt, as he's made some highlight reel plays. This one grounded over to second. Bowser has it. 2 up, 2 down. Well, Crenshaw's had a tough day at the plate, 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts, looking to get off the schneid here.
Quick outs. Let's make him sweat out there a little bit.
Sun beaten down. No shadows on the field whatsoever.
Home plate umpire having a long discussion with Moore, the catcher for Stanford. Not even looking over in the direction. Now he walks over. That one went on a little bit longer than I've...
yeah.
This umpiring crew doesn't seem to be in any sort of hurry at all today on a Sunday afternoon.
No rush to start the pitch clock or anything.
Taking their time on the reviews.
Yep.
As long as they get the calls right, that's all I'm worried about. So.
We'll see if they make a move or stick with Lebomov for the 7th. So getting loose out there is number 29. That's going to be Owen Stevenson. High leverage right-hander. Crenshaw drives one, right field. No doubt about that one. Wow. A long solo shot onto the roof of the Whiteman Family Performance Center for Crenshaw, and he pulls the Devils within one.
I don't know what Willie was saying to him before that at bat, but it must have been pretty good advice. That's the kind of spark that Arizona State needed right here. I think they had kind of gotten a little bit of an offensive lull, and Wyatt Crenshaw.
How about that for, I believe, his first base hit of the series?
Out of a slump. That ball was a no-doubter.
Here's another left-handed power threat. Isaiah Jackson. 2 down. There's a called strike.
I think Isaiah just wanted to get a little clarification. Nothing wrong with asking the umpire, hey, was that?
Yeah. Could have just caught the outside corner as it was breaking off the plate. Check swing, he went around. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Solo shot from Crenshaw makes this a 1-run ball game. Swing and a miss. Jackson down on strikes for the second time. The Sun Devils get one back. It's 5-4 as we head to the 7th on Pac-12 Insider. Owen Stevenson taking the hill for the Sun Devils here to work the 7th inning. How about Wyatt Crenshaw, though, to get the Sun Devils within 1?
Yeah, we had talked about how he was slumping. It looked like he was due to break out, and boy, that's one way to do it. That was an absolute moonshot, and you know that can be something that really gives that lift to that dugout. I mean, we talked about 2 runs is nothing to this team. They've come back all year long, and you just got to chip away, and now it's on. Now the onus is on the pitching. Get a shutdown inning and let your offense get right back out there.
Take a look at the numbers there for Stevenson. 40 innings of work can give you some length back there. Don't need too much from Stevenson. We know they'll have Brock Peary available if he's needed. Hasn't pitched since Friday.
Stevenson threw 1 inning last night. Allowed 2 hits and a run. Walked a man, struck out a man. Took the loss.
Well, he's got the heart of the order coming up. Tommy Troy, Carter Graham, Braden Montgomery. 2, 3, 4. So work to do indeed. The Sun Devils want to keep this deficit to just the 1 run. So Tommy Troy makes his way to the plate, and you want to talk about a rare power speed combo. Troy's leading the Cardinal with 13 stolen bases, and after the home run today, like we mentioned, double-digit home runs as well.
Just seems like everybody in the Stanford lineup can hit a long ball, doesn't it?
Seems that way. And right on cue, this one is a long drive to left field, but foul. That ball was tattooed.
Yeah, it was. That was halfway up that rock pile. Almost got it out on a Van Buren. Wind now blowing out towards left field.
Heater catches the inside corner. It's 0-2.
The weather, definitely heated up. It's just about 5 degrees warmer than it was at the start of this game, so ball's going to start flying a little bit more.
Oh, 2. Fights it off.
That was a good pitch right there, but a nice job by Troy to get a piece of it.
Try to jam him up and in with the fastball. Another 0-2. Swing and a miss. Gets him out in front with the changeup. And that's out number 1.
That's a good start. Stanford scored runs in the 3rd and the 6th. Both times the leadoff man got aboard and came around to score. So it's a big thing for ASU to get that leadoff hitter.
Graham 0 for 3.
Stevenson, nice velocity there. 94, just missed inside. Action in the Stanford bullpen, right-hander throwing.
The Cardinal just went with Max Meyer in the 6th. This one is laced, just foul. Well, Carter Graham has a hitting streak he's trying to keep alive right now. He's at 10 as it stands. There's the strike.
Nice pitch right there. 93.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Stevenson deals. This one hit over to short. Hill's got it on a hop. On to first. Out number 2.
That's a nice play by Hill. Kind of had trouble getting it out of his glove, but was able to recover and make a strong throw to first to get the out. I know I've been preaching it all weekend, but that's one thing this Arizona State team does so well. They're really solid defensively, and the pitchers, just let those guys behind you make those plays. And you've seen that with New Contradas how many times already this weekend, making just amazing plays to get out of trouble.
Here's Montgomery, swing and a miss.
I know that's something that Coach Bloomquist preaches. A guy who played all over the diamond in his career, so defense is important to him.
Can't tell you how many highlight reel plays I remember seeing him make at shortstop for the Diamondbacks.
He was a pretty solid college baseball player when he played here back in the late 90s,
Absolutely.
too. You ask him what the biggest regret of his college career is, that they couldn't finish that job in the 98 game, and all he wants to do is hang a banner up here on the wall.
3-1 the count on Montgomery.
I'm sure you're way too young, but that was one of the craziest college baseball championship games of all time. 21-14 against USC.
How about that?
Yeah, and it was before the final series. It was one game. It's amazing how many times ASU and USC have found themselves playing each other in Omaha.
Yeah.
Even before they were in the same conference, when ASU was in the Western Athletic Conference, they played each other.
Swing and a miss. 1-2-3 inning for Owen Stevenson. And the Devils keep that deficit to 1 run. It's stretch time at the ballpark. We'll head to the break here on Pac-12 Insider. Back at the bottom of the 7th inning. Arizona State trailing Stanford 5-4. Max Meyer back out for the 2nd inning work for the Cardinals. He was able to retire 3 of the 4 batters he faced. The Wyatt Crenshaw, an absolute bomb to right field. One of the longer home runs I've seen in a while.
And if I'm Vu, if I'm McLean, if I'm Hill, I'm going to talk to Crenshaw. Hey, what did he throw? What's coming at him? What did you see? Go get as much information you can so that you can try and get on base too. But you can't swing for the fences. You just got to try and put a good swing on the ball. 3 right there. Meyer can fool you with a lot of different velocities.
1 ball, 1 strike. This one fouled back, and it's 1-2. Here's the 1-2. This is upstairs. Key and Vu usually really good about seeing a lot of pitches. About to see pitch number 5 in the at-bat right here. Swing and a miss. Chased it in the dirt. Moore on to first to complete the strikeout. Lineup flips over for Nick McLean.
When you look at the bottom third of the order for the Sun Devils, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strikeouts from their 7, 8, and 9 hitters today.
That's not going to do it. Mound visit for Max McLean, and that'll be it for the right-hander. So he's able to retire 4 of the 5 batters he faced. And we're going to step aside here on Pac-12 Network. We'll be right, or Pac-12 Insider. We'll be right back with the new Stanford reliever. New pitcher on for the Stanford Cardinal is the righty out of Georgia. It's Brant Panzer making his second appearance of the series.
Yeah, last night, 1 2/3, 2 hits, 1 run it was earned, walked 1, struck out 2, faced 8 batters through 30 pitches. You knew you're going to have to get to this tough back end of the Cardinal bullpen, and Pants are one of those 2-headed closers that Stanford has, along with Ryan Bruno, who you'd really like to avoid seeing in the 9th.
Yeah, that's something Willie Bloomquist made a point of, and so far the Devils have had to see him in both games, and there is a chance they might have to see him again here today.
But first things first, still got some outs to work with here in the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, lots of room to get something going. Nick McLean has reached all 3 times, singled and walked twice. He's scored a run.
Stanford today, 8 for 26. They've drawn 4 walks, 3 for 11 with runners on, 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. ASU 7 for 24 in the game, drawn 3 walks, 4 for 11 with runners on, 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Stanford struck out 8 times. ASU's punched out 9 times so far here in the bottom of the 7th.
Panzer fires in a strike. He deals a little off the plate.
Moore tried to frame it and hold it there just to give the home plate umpire another look, but no dice.
Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. Change up. Had McLean out in front.
Second baseman Bowser out on the first cut of the outfield grass, real close to first base side.
This one tap foul back behind the plate. 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error for Stanford. 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors for Arizona State.
4 of those hits for Stanford have been the extra base variety, which has been a recurring theme all weekend.
That's what we've come to expect. McLean tried to hold up, and he did not do so successfully. It's a big strikeout out of the bullpen for Brant Panzer.
Yeah, and that's one thing Stanford does is they'll punch hitters out. They had 9 punch outs last night. Friday night, they struck out 14 Sun Devils, so Arizona State with a lot of strikeouts this weekend series, yeah.
Got to put the ball in play, give try to make something happen.
Well, and you mentioned earlier, there's been a lot of swings and misses even on first and second strikes.
Luke Hill 1 for 3. He was erased at second on a fielder's choice back in the 5th. This one runs inside, nearly hits him. 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Campos on deck. Changeup just catches the outside corner, and it's 1-2.
Now Hill's got to be aggressive, got to protect that plate with 2 strikes.
Grounder over to third. Troy's got it on to first, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for the Cardinal. Arizona State down in order, trying to keep the deficit to 1 as we head to the 8th inning on Pac-12 Insider. They're playing the fight song here at Phoenix Muni. Arizona State trailing 5-4 to Stanford. And due up for the Cardinal is the left fielder Alberto Rios. Olivia has a little bit more for us. What do you got for us, Olivia?
Yeah, left fielder Alberto Rios has a pretty cool story, and really the kind of player that I spoke about in Stanford, that he'd stayed and grew with that Stanford culture. Out of Bellflower, California, he pitch hit once his freshman season, pitch hit 7 times this last season, and reached on 1 walk. That's appearing in just 8 of 121 games. He started left field February 21st against Cal and has been there ever since for the Cardinal. He says that he was ready for the opportunity and lucky to have it. Coach Esker said it's really cool to see a guy that has really rallied around the guys on the field all this time to be rallied around in his successes right now.
Thank you, Olivia. Alberto Rios has really showed out this series. He's been really one of the most consistent bats for the Cardinal throughout the season.
Yeah, I think the Sun Devils would have not minded if he had not been out there in left field or in the batting order this weekend with some of those swings we saw.
Yeah, some of the balls he's barreled up. Go back to I believe it was the second one on Friday night. The
game-winning homer,
the game-winning home run. It was nearly cleared the Wall of Fame out there.
Yeah, it was mashed, no doubt about it.
That one is smoked foul toward the concourse.
Yeah, I bet the exit velo on that foul ball was triple digits. Those kids out there didn't care. They were all chasing after that foul ball.
Stevenson ahead 0-2. Chopper up the middle. Hill gets a glove on it, and he's not going to be able to make a throw. He nearly takes a tumble. So credit Rios with an infield single.
Yeah, but that's a great job by Hill to keep that ball in the infield, because that was rolling just slow enough where by the time Jackson got it, we know how Stanford is on the base paths. Rios could have been on second base.
That'll bring up the catcher, Malcolm Moore. 1 for 3, double and scored in the 6th.
ASU's had trouble when the leadoff hitter has gotten aboard, so they need to try and change that trend and work out of it here. Both bullpens quiet at the moment.
Stevenson steps off.
Yeah, I think Moore called timeout.
See if Stevenson can get a ground ball here with double play in order.
Contreras is ready at third, so hit it to me, I'll turn it again.
This one outside. The 8th inning, Jake Sapien flied out to right field to end the bottom, or the top of the 8th rather, and the challenge resulted in the call standing on the field.
But either way, no harm done as ASU was able to get out of that inning, and now they go into the bottom of the 8th. Another chance to get to Brant Panther and Ryan Campos will start things off.
So it'll be Campos, Keishel, Tobias, 3, 4, 5.
You kind of get the feeling like this is that action inning for ASU. If they want to make something happen, it's going to have to be right now.
Because if not, there's a good chance you run into Ryan Bruno against potentially the bottom of the order, which has struggled today, like we mentioned.
Yeah, and I wonder if they bring him out 3 games in a row. But, boy, with the 5-4 lead, if that's what it's at, you'd have to think probably so.
There's a base hit into left field. Ryan Campos, have a day. His 3rd hit of the ball game. And the tying run is on base.
And this is the guy you want at the plate, Luke Keishel, home run leader, 16 homers, 23 doubles, 50 RBI. But again, don't try and hit the ball out of the ballpark. Just try and put a good swing on the ball, and good things will happen. And now a lefty starting to get loosed out there in the Stanford bullpen.
As you can see, Keishel 0 for 2. He's walked, lined out, and grounded out.
Might be Drew Dowd out there, who we saw last night, getting warm in the Stanford bullpen.
Campos gets his lead at first. First pitch to Keishel. A little bit outside. Moore tried to frame it up. Panther comes set. The pitch. Another one downstairs. And it is Drew Dowd getting loose in the bullpen.
Sorry, I was going to say Keishel walked in the first, came around to score, also reaching a fielder's choice. Sandwich around to fly out to center.
Swing and a miss. Got a little greedy with that swing.
Yeah, he was sitting on heater there, and the 83-mile-an-hour breaking ball came in and was way out in front.
Go-ahead run at the plate. Arizona State trying to salvage the series finale. Swing and a miss.
Came right back with the same pitch, it looked like.
Having a tough time staying back on the changeup. We'll see if Panther goes back to the same pitch. The 2-2 is a called 3rd strike. Another changeup and a big strikeout for Panther.
11th strikeout by a Sun Devil batter here tonight. And I don't know that Keishel will like that call.
Well, you got Jacob Tobias. Let's see if David Esker goes with the matchup move. He was at the top step and went back into the dugout, so at least for now it appears they like Panther to face Tobias, who's 1 for 3. He's accounted for 3 of the 4 runs scored for the Sun Devils today.
Now Pouncer just pounding the zone with strikes all of a sudden.
He's sticking with the changeup. One ball, 1 strike.
Going to head to the Stanford 9th. They have 9-1-2 due up.
One blocked by Moore.
Yeah, nice job to keep it close enough to him where there was no chance for Campos to advance.
Two balls, 1 strike. Contrada is on deck. Tobias unloads right field, and making the catch on the track is Montgomery for a long out number 2.
Just got under that ball.
So close. Here's Contrada, 0 for 3.
tell you what, the experience that these young players are getting for Arizona State to play in a series like this and a big-time game like this today, that just is going to be so valuable moving forward, not just for the rest of this year, but as they move on in their Sun Devil careers, having played in big-time pressure situation games. A guy like New Contreras, who's a freshman coming here from Hawaii and playing that hot corner and being a part of so many big defensive plays that he's made just today, let alone all weekend and all season. Just such valuable experience you can take.
Swing and a miss. Now this will, having a series, I mean, you look at last year, what happened at the Sunken Diamond. Stanford just obliterated Arizona State. It was a measuring stick moment for the program, and 3 close games here in Tempe, and a lot of freshmen on this team, and a lot of them stick around for next year. It's a great experience, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I think that's a great point you made. Measuring stick for the program last year, and now you're going to do the same thing this year, and you're right there. You're climbing that mountain, and you are right there. And I'm not sure that you could have said that last year, the year before, the last few years.
Crenshaw on deck, 3-1 the count on Contreras. 2 down in the inning. Devils looking to at least knot this game up, if not take the lead heading into the 9th. Grounded to short. Cobb's got it. Goes to second for the force out. That'll end the inning. Devils leave a man on, still trailing by 1 as we head to the 9th on Pac-12 Insider. Owen Stevenson back out for another inning of relief. And he's done a nice job silencing the Cardinal bats through his 2 innings of work.
They need another 0 from him here in the top of the 9th. Got to keep this a 1-run ball game. But he's going to have to deal with 9-1-2, who've been just a thorn in their side all weekend long.
Yeah, Owen Cobb, 3 for 3 tonight, or today rather. He'll be followed up by Park, who's walked a couple of times, and then of course Tommy Troy, and we know what he's been up to. 3 home runs in this series alone.
Yeah, between Tommy Troy and Drew Sapien, they've really been the difference, and along with Rios on Friday night. Cobb's been on the bases all 3 times too, 3 for 3.
That boosts his batting average up to .342 for the season. Getting on base at a .382 clip as well.
No one up in the Sun Devil bullpen, so it's Stevenson's 9th. It's all sorts of action going on in the Stanford pen. Nobody's throwing yet.
Let's see. 49 still looks like Drew Dowd is at least standing up.
You got to do whatever you can to keep this a 1-run ball game right here, especially if Bruno's not warming up. That's got to be a big positive for ASU.
Fastball right below the knees. Not sure where else you can put it, and time is called. That one catches the inside corner. Full count.
After Cobb will be Park, who's walked twice, scored, lined into a double play and struck out.
High chopper to short. Hill makes a nice pick. Crossbody throw to first in time.
That's a great play right there by Luke Hill. Pulling it on the short hop, and a nice play by Tobias to keep his foot on the bag as he went up for the throw that was a little bit high, and that's a big first out for the Devils.
Tremendous play over there at short by the freshman.
No, the left side of the infield has just been so solid all weekend long.
Tremendous. Tremendous defense on the infield for the Devils.
And as you mentioned, freshman Hill, freshman Contreras.
Grounder to second. Keishel on to first. 2 up, 2 down. this is exactly the situation you want to be in if you're the Sun Devils, pitching to Tommy Troy with 2 outs and nobody on the base paths.
Agreed.
Appeal to first. Did not go around.
They got the shift on. Keishel just to the third base side of second base, playing just on the cut of the grass.
Fastball a little bit low.
And it looks like Dowd's going to be the Stanford pitcher for the 9th. As you can see him getting warmed up out there, the left-hander.
Can't necessarily say that's a sigh of relief for the Devils because Dowd is a very good pitcher in his own right.
Yeah, Dowd last night got the win, went 3 innings. A lot of run on 2 hits. Struck out 3. Threw 54 pitches last night. Bruno threw 7 pitches last night. Threw 16 on Friday night.
That one smoked into left center field. That one's going to roll all the way to the warning track. That'll be an easy double for Tommy Troy.
Boy, Stanford just wearing out that left center field gap all weekend long. And not out of the woods yet now with Carter coming up. Or, excuse me, with Carter Graham.
Carter Graham, the first baseman, 0 for 4. He struck out twice, flew out to left, and grounded out as well. Trying to get the run home from second. First pitch swinging deep left field, and that one is going to go. 2-run blast for Carter Graham, and that extends the Stanford lead to 7-4.
Stanford had come into the inning hitting 1 for 7 with runners with 2 outs, and now they're 2 for 2 with 2 outs and adding 2 runs.
Well, he waited till the last minute, but that extends Graham's hitting streak to 11 games.
And that ball got out of here in a hurry, a no doubter.
Some Stanford players out there on the hill, maybe trying to fish it out.
Got to be careful out there. There's all sorts of wildlife. Right across, you're right across the street from the zoo. I mean, there could be all sorts of things that would escape. They got peacocks wandering around.
Really want to keep that ball.
Hey, it's a budget-conscious world now. You can always reuse that for batting practice.
Hey, exactly. He's intently looking for something.
I've had that job before, and when we would go practice on a Thursday night in a road city, had to go shag balls out in the outfield and beyond the outfield fence, get a bag and bring them back.
There you go. Swing and a miss. 2-2 the count on Montgomery. He's singled and walked today. Outside.
Still looking for that ball out there. Has not located it yet.
At what point do you just throw your hands up?
Oh, no, you're on a mission now.
Yeah.
You don't leave.
Ball 4. Montgomery continues to walk. It's the second one of the ball game.
And now you're going to have to face Rios again.
So Stanford able to add some insurance. A lot more comfortable lead for Drew Dowd to work with for the 9th, if that is, in fact, who they opt to go with. There's another drive to center field. Going back is Jackson, and that one is gone. That one got out of here quickly. Alberto Rios, his 3rd homer of the series. And this one's getting out of hand. It's 9-4.
Yeah, and I don't think ASU is going to be sorry to see Alberto Rios leave Tempe and never come back after the weekend he's had.
2 homers, all with 2 outs here in the 9th.
And that's going to be all for Owen Stevenson.
So disappointing end to an otherwise pretty solid outing for Owen Stevenson, who got the first 2 outs of the inning, and then the Cardinal stepped up in a big way. It's 9-4. We'll be back with the new Sun Devil Alarm after the break on Pac-12 Insider. Will Rogers taking the mound for the Devils with 2 outs in the 9th inning, and this thing got ugly quickly as Owen Stevenson had gotten the first 2 outs relatively quickly. And then Troy doubled, Graham homered. There was a walk to Montgomery, and Alberto Rios, 1 more home run before leaving Tempe.
Yeah. 4 straight batters reach, all with 2 outs, double, 2 homers, then walk hurts you too. Boy, you just got to get out of those innings, and Stanford just relentless. Doesn't ever let their guard down, do they?
Not at all. Well, ASU still has a puncher's chance in the bottom of the 9th, but got to stop the bleeding right here. Here's the catcher, Malcolm Moore.
Yeah, now Rogers got to go out there and get that 3rd out right now.
That went all the way to the backstop.
I think that ball slipped out of his hand.
Yeah. Well, Will Rogers, 2-way player. He can catch, he can play outfield, and he can pitch. Had a walk-off base hit on opening day. And he's been slumping at the plate lately, but Willie Bloomquist mentioned they could really use his power arm in the bullpen down the stretch.
Nice breaking ball right there.
Yeah. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bowser awaits on deck. Swing and a miss. Will Rogers punches out more to end the inning, but the Stanford Cardinals strike for 4 runs. They get a 2-run blast from Carter Graham and another 2-run shot from Alberto Rios. We head to the bottom of the 9th here on Pac-12 Insider. Old Main on the Tempe campus. Beautiful Sunday afternoon here in the Valley of the Sun.
Did you know they used to hold the head football coach press conferences in Old Main?
Really?
Well,
I did not know that.
In fact, when they announced the hiring of, I was trying to, they did it there during the Bruce Snyder era. They announced the hiring of Dirk Cutter, and that was up in the press box at Sun Devil Stadium. There was also a press conference that happened at Old Main. I mean, this was 20 years ago. Somburros was the caterer.
Okay.
You would not believe the amount of media that would show up for those Monday press conferences when they had the free Somburros trip.
Devils are facing a real uphill battle here in the bottom of the 9th. 3 outs away from getting swept. There's a hard grounder to second. Bowser has it, and Crenshaw is the first out of the inning. Well, this game was close for the entire ball game, and just ultimately Stanford broke out in a big way in the 9th.
Once again, a big inning comes back to bite the Sun Devils, and all with 2 outs, and I think that's the most frustrating part is you had 2 quick outs in the inning. Looking at, okay, we got a 1-run deficit, we just got to get this 3rd out. It just didn't come until 4 more runs across the plate.
Jackson skies it to center. Park coming in, he's got it. 2 pitches and 2 outs for Panther in the 9th.
And Vu's going to be the last hope for ASU here on Sunday.
Well, it's been a tough day for Kian Vu. 0 for 3 with 3 punch-outs, but looking to keep this game alive. See if he can flip the order over for Nick McLean.
11 strikeouts on the day for Sun Devil hitters.
And Willie Bloomquist will tell you that's too much, too many.
Have drawn 3 walks. They've also struck out 10 Stanford hitters, but strikeout has definitely been their Achilles heel all weekend. They've a lot of punch-outs all 3 games.
There's a strike. Devils down to their last strike.
Barring a miracle comeback, Arizona State's going to have to forget this quickly.
Yep.
Go on the road to Los Angeles next weekend and face at USC with a clear mind.
2-2 on the way. This one in the dirt. But how about these Stanford Cardinal? These guys are the real deal.
Yeah, they are. They are not just an Omaha caliber team. They're a team that could take it all in Omaha at the end of the season. They're a complete team.
Payoff pitch. Vu fights it off.
They have good starting pitching. They have offense for days.
Now this team is complete in every sense of the word.
And they've got that experience. They know what it takes to get there, having been 2 years in a row.
3-2. Vu staying alive. So like we mentioned, the Cardinal have a midweek with Santa Clara after this, and then they take on the Arizona Wildcats and then finish off the season on the Palouse, Washington State.
Probably come back to Scottsdale as the #1 overall seed in the Pac-12 conference tournament.
Well, Kian Vu's aboard with the walk. Keeps the line moving and gives one of your hottest hitters a chance to make something happen with 2 outs.
Yeah, McLean, single, 2 walks today.
McLean punched out his last time up, but 1 for 2. He's walked a couple of times. Another exaggerated shift, as we've seen all weekend against Nick McLean. Swinging a foul back to the screen.
Not holding Vu on at first. Not worried about his run whatsoever.
Not at all.
What if they found that ball out there in left field? They've shut the bullpen door, so they came back.
And Kian Vu makes it up to second uncontested.
Yeah, I'm going to guess they're going to rule that defensive indifference.
A ball and a strike on McLean. Takes off for third, grounder to first. Gloved, making the toss to first. And that'll end the ball game. The Stanford Cardinal sweep the Arizona State Sun Devils. They win the finale 9-4, and they are alone at the top of the Pac-12 conference.
Yeah, disappointing weekend for Arizona State, but they got beat by a really good baseball team, and now ASU needs to just flush this one and get ready for next weekend. And now Stanford controls their own destiny as they move forward, trying to secure that #1 overall seed in the Pac-12 conference tournament and the regular season Pac-12 title.
We're going to step aside here on Pac-12 Insider. We'll be back with the recap after the break. We've gone final here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. The Stanford Cardinal, 3-game sweep of the Arizona State Sun Devils. They win this one 9-4. And as you can see there on the screen, more home run power being displayed by Tommy and Alberto Rios.
Yeah, Stanford just, the 1 through 9 in their lineup is just really tough to pitch around anybody. And for Arizona State, just too many swings and misses at Stanford pitching. They had a couple of big innings, but could never seem to get over that hump, whereas Stanford, even with 2 outs, was able to put up a big 4 spot, and a 3 spot, and extend that lead to 9-4 and put the Sun Devils away. But, you know, if you're Arizona State, you're not quite there yet. You went toe-to-toe with a heavyweight, and you were able to stay in the fight, but now you know what's in front of you. And for Arizona State, look, Stanford's going to the tournament. They're going to be Pac-12 champion most likely. They're going to host a regional. If you're Arizona State, you got a lot of work to do. You can still host, but you're going to have 2 big Pac-12 series coming up, and you got to play for your postseason life now.
Work to do indeed. Once again, final score, Stanford 9, Arizona State 4. This was our last ASU live stream of the season. Thank you to all of our viewers and production crew for a great year. We streamed 106 games this semester, and we couldn't have done it without all the support and help. So for one last time, for the stream team, production crew, and staff, and for Randy Policar and Olivia Eisenhower, I'm Hayden Weber, signing off from Tempe.